I want to go now to Neama Rahmani. He's a former federal prosecutor and also the president of West Coast Trial Lawyers. Neama, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Polo. As always, big day for both the prosecution and the defense in Massachusetts.
Absolutely. And I really want to get your thoughts on the prosecution. But first, though, let me play for you and our viewers just some of the testimony that jurors will soon be considering. What you're about to hear is the defense's last witness, psychiatrist Philip Resnick. And listen to what he told jurors about what he believed was Clancy's state of mind the day of the killings.
She had what is known as a delusion of influence. That is, not only did she hear a command, but she felt that her body was taken over by an external force where she was in a dream state and did not have control of her own body. It was almost like she was a puppet and someone else was pulling the strings.
That she had no control of her body the day of those murders. So what do you make of that? And just how compelling do you expect the jury to find that doctor's testimony?
It's very strong and compelling, Polo, and this is why. If you're the defense or the prosecution for that matter, you want to start strong and you want to end strong. And the defense started with Lindsay Clancy's mother, a very powerful witness, followed by her mother-in-law, Patrick's mother, the husband, ex-husband. And then they ended very strong with the psychiatrist, and this is why it's relevant. Under Massachusetts law, one can be found not criminally responsible, which is the equivalent of insane in most states, if either one of two things are true. They don't understand the wrongfulness of their actions, and that's certainly possible because the two previous witnesses, including the hospital chaplain and the psychologist, testified that Clancy was hearing voices telling her to kill her children so they could be safe. But there's a second way to get there. If you're unable to conform your actions to the law, basically you don't have control, and that's precisely what this defense expert said. So you've really covered both bases of legal insanity or criminal responsibility there in Massachusetts. So really, it's going to be very difficult for the prosecution to get 12 out of 12 jurors to disagree here.
On that note, Neama, the state has maintained that Clancy acted intentionally and had also planned her children's killings. What's your assessment of the prosecution's performance so far in their case?
At the beginning of this case, I thought there was very little chance that Clancy would be acquitted or the jury would hang because these acts were so heinous and they had evidence of premeditation in the weeks and days leading up to the murders. But I think the defense has really covered a lot of ground in this past week, and you could tell by the fact that they've really shortened their presentation. I do think the defense thinks they're ahead. And of course, social media is no barometer, but if you are really following this case, and this is probably the biggest case in social media, maybe since Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, there are really strong differing opinions on both sides. So I do think the defense has scored enough points for at least the casual viewer who is watching, and there's people that are watching this case gavel to gavel every single day, that there's enough division here that I think the defense has created reasonable doubt.
We're seeing some videos you were speaking to, Neama, of some of these supporters wearing pink. These Clancy supporters wearing pink outside of the courthouse. We've seen them throughout much of the presentation of testimony. Just culturally, how has this case highlighted the issue of maternal mental health? I mean, we saw and heard testimony that Clancy herself had this desire to be able to seek treatment to address that.
Well, there's no doubt that this case has raised even more awareness. I think one reason this case is better than your typical insanity case is the fact that you have this well-documented history of mental illness, 12 different prescription medications, some of them antipsychotic medications, her voluntarily checking herself into an inpatient facility, desperately begging friends, family members for help. You don't typically have that. And I think what you're seeing, the support outside, all those women wearing pink, similar to actually the Karen Reed case that ended up in essentially an acquittal, not once, but twice. When you have this much support for an accused murderer, in this case, an admitted murderer, you have to be thinking, if you're the Commonwealth, if you're the prosecution here, that you're potentially in a world of hurt. And one thing you're seeing this support, and we're seeing a lot of women, we're really seeing a clear divide here. Yeah. There's a lot of women, especially mothers, who have suffered through this, that are really pro Lindsay Clancy, and then some other types who haven't given birth to children, and many men who think that she's guilty and she should spend the rest of her life in state prison. So the divide is fascinating. And the reason I'm bringing that up is the jury, we don't know what 12 are going to deliberate, but the 18 total, including the alternates, they consist of 12 women and 6 men. So that ratio, again, broad generalization, bodes well for the defense.
Without a doubt, long after this verdict is read, this will certainly leave a lasting imprint on society in general. Neama Rahmani, really appreciate you helping us just break all this down. We know you'll be watching in the days ahead. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Paulo. Talk soon.
Talk soon.